I like to think of building momentum like trying to climb to the top of a skyscraper. So if you need to get to the top floor of a skyscraper, what do? You have two options. You either go on the outside, you try and climb up the outside, or you go up the inside. Take the stairs, right? Let's just remove the idea of the elevator as either the stairs or climb the outside for this analogy. Here's the thing, you can potentially get to the top if you go on the outside, but it's basically guaranteed you're gonna fall off. It's basically guaranteed. 99% of the time you're gonna fall off and just, not make it to the top, right? Or you can take the stairs. And instead of trying to climb, a whole floor at a time and jump up and, do it really dangerously and then fall off and it's all this big pain, you can just go one step at a time. And it might take a while, but you'll get to the top and you won't really fall. You won't really hurt yourself. You won't be, failing. You can just walk to the top and everything's good, right? That's the same as building momentum. Building momentum does not come from trying to jump a whole floor at a time, climb up some window and balance and not fall off of a skyscraper. It's just step by step. It's a staircase. And it might be 100 flights of stairs, right? And so you might be like, I'm going to take, it's 100 flights of stairs, it's 20 stairs a flight, right? Whatever that is, 2,000 stairs. You might have to take 2,000 small steps. But that's better than trying to climb up 100 flights of stairs from windows outside of the skyscraper, right? It might be a confusing example, but instead of trying to go up one floor at a time, one whole floor at a time, on the outside it's dangerous, you're gonna fall off, all these bad things happen, you just take one step at a time. Momentum is the same. You don't build momentum in big leaps, because big leaps are going to get you to fall off, to start again. So if you try and go on the outside, you go, it might be quicker, only 100 different, levels to go up. You got this, you start climbing up the outside, you make it up a few stairs, a few levels, right? Cool, a few levels, right? You get to level like 8, and you slip, and you fall. Let's say in this example, nothing can happen when you fall, you just have to start again. You start again, you go up, you do it again, you do it up. Whereas the person on the stairs is just step by step, little steps, not falling off, not hurting themselves, not, getting mad, just step by step. Guess what? Even though you might be able to climb faster on the outside or whatever, the guy on the stairs got to the top before, and the guy that was climbing up the outside never made it to the top because he kept falling off because the task was too challenging that you couldn't get from the bottom to the top. You couldn't do it in one go. You can't get from the top, bottom to top. Whereas with the stairs out, you just one step, boom, you're at the top. Momentum is the same. You won't make momentum by taking these massive leaps. You won't build momentum by going, I'm going to start with 8 hours of work and an ice bath and a 10-kilometer run and I'm going to be ultra this. That's not how it works. That is not how it works. You go, okay, well, today I didn't do anything productive, so tomorrow I'm going to try with the intention of being productive, but tomorrow I'm going to do I'm going to go run 1 kilometer. And you do the 1 kilometer, so challenge, you do 1 kilometer. You go, cool, tomorrow I'm going to do 1.2 kilometers. Okay, cool. A little bit longer, but you don't really notice that much, 1.2 kilometers. Then the next day you do 1.5, then you do 1.7, then you do 2 kilometers. Boom, cool, 2 kilometers, I doubled it in a week. And all of a sudden, you start making these big amounts of progress, right? It starts compounding, and the compounding builds up even faster. It's like a snowball effect, right? You do 1 push-up one day, you think, I'll do push-ups the next day. You do, 2, you're like, I'm gonna do some more. You do 5, you do 10. So now in 2 days you've done 10x. Then you go, and eventually a week later you're doing 50 a day. If you had to go on, the plan was to do 1 a day, and you were doing the 1 a day, but then you felt motivated, you added in some more, you had some free time, and eventually with all the circumstances you've done 50 times what you thought. Or 7 times what you thought, because you took the small steps, right? You will always want to do something that is easy. So how do you make it easy? You make it simple. You remove easy, forget about fun, forget about nothing. How do you make it simple, right? Because more often than not, you can do hard things. It's can you do complicated things? Because I don't know about you guys, but I would much rather do something that is physically challenging than something that is mentally challenging, right? It's easier, right? It's like going for running a marathon is this big respected thing because it's mentally challenging. Most people with 2 weeks of training can run a marathon. Like physically you could do it, but mentally they will never do it. Mentally they can't, right? Because it requires insane amounts of mental capacity to run that marathon because it is an insanely hard thing to do. And that's why everyone respects marathon runners because it is an extremely challenging challenge, right? I would much rather, like for me, right? I don't really like sitting in school. I don't like sitting in class. I don't like having to do all this stuff and Word documents and just reading and all this mental stuff. I'd rather go out and work on a farm and throw around hay bales even though it might be physically challenging, it's mentally easy. So if you take a cold shower and you can get your mind right, if you can get the mentality correct, you'll take cold showers whenever you want. If it's about running, if you get your mentality correct, you can go from running 1 kilometer to 5 kilometers a day in 3 days. So it's the mentality, right? So when you can get that sorted out, back to the point I was saying earlier, momentum doesn't come from big leaps, and it doesn't come from things being easy. It comes from things being simple. Basically, you can make complicated things simple by just understanding it. Just by you understanding it makes it simple. Because complicated and confusing only is objectively a thing when you don't understand it. Something is only objectively confusing when you don't understand it, when you are confused. If you are not confused, it's not confusing. So when you know what you have to do, when you have the plan, when you have the routine, when you have the every day we go up by 10% or whatever it is, when you have that set out, it's no longer confusing, so it's no longer mentally as challenging because this is what I'm doing and you do it. So combine all these things, make it simple, remove the confusion and the mental struggles and the mental roadblocks. Then you just push yourself and you've got momentum. Start with small things every day, build it up. Don't try and jump up whole flights of stairs in one go. Don't try and climb up the outside of the building. Go up the stairs one step at a time. All you have to do to build momentum is push yourself a little bit more every day. Do something slightly challenging every single day. Build some discipline and add small amounts of action every day. If you did 30 push-ups yesterday, do 31 today. And then do 32 tomorrow. And guess what? I guarantee you that if you do that, right, I wanted a challenge where I was doing an extra push-up every day. And I started at like 20. And I would do the 20. And then because I would just do more push-ups. So I'm like, today was, I did 20 in one day. But I actually did like 45. The next day I did like 22, but I actually did 70. Then the next day I did 23, and I did 23. But then the next day I did 24, and I actually did like 50. And then I did 200 that day. And then I did, because it's like, okay, we have this baseline. But doing the baseline, you have momentum now, you want to do more. Momentum builds more momentum. It's a snowball effect, right? When the snowball gets to, a foot in diameter, it's going to then grow faster than if it was just like an inch by an inch snowball. Momentum is real, and you need to use it to your advantage. Build a routine, remove the confusion, have a plan and a routine. So that's the mental side of everything done. All you have to do then is push yourself and take small steps, and that's how you build insane momentum. Because it's a snowball effect. You might go, I did, 10 push-ups and this isn't really doing much. You might think that, but in reality, that, one push-up a day right now might not be much. But in 2 months, that extra push-up a day, you're doing 70, 80, 100 a day. That's where the momentum comes. A few months down the line. It will generally take you 3 to 6 months to start seeing any decent amount of results from your actions. If you want to see large results, generally 1 to 2 years. If you're working out every single day, 3 to 6 months, you'll start seeing decent results. You're like, cool, you're noticing good changes, you're looking better, you're feeling better. 1 to 2 years, you got a good physique. 1 to 2 years, you have a decent enough, above average physique. Right? If you're doing personal branding, generally, with content, 3 to 6 months, you can see a little bit of results. 1 to 2 or 3, so everyone is different. But it takes you long periods of time to see results. But you only see those results if in those long periods of time, you're building momentum. If you're stacking, right? Because you might go, okay, 1 push-up a day to 2 a day doesn't make much difference. And 60 to 61 doesn't also make much difference, but you're still doing 60 or 61. So you go, the difference isn't much, but it's still a lot. That's because of momentum. Build momentum, you will win. See you tomorrow.